take us through the US president's mindset or his cabinet's mindset. What are they trying to achieve? I mean, it's a slow process, and there are too many things involved in this one big conflict with Iran. And, the slogan that they built their narrative and the foreign policy on was death to America. And now, from that narrative to the negotiating table, how do you see it unfolding?
I think that there's an immediate decision that needs to be made primarily by the Americans here. And that is whether they should go for some sort of an interim solution, as is being suggested now by Iran. That is to settle the situation in the Gulf of Hormuz, remove the U.S. blockade, open the Straits of Hormuz. And we could spend a lot of time talking about the details of what it actually means to open the Straits of Hormuz. And then put off the primary issues, primarily the nuclear issue, for lengthier and more detailed discussions. The American instinct is not to accept that. It would clearly be very difficult for the president to spin that as some sort of a victory. After all, he was supposed to make sure that the Iranians never had a nuclear weapon, and now that issue is very much in question and in contention. And so I think the calculus right now for the Americans is to determine basically whether or not the U.S. embargo can bring the Iranians to the table quickly. And there are differences of opinion on this. There are some who say that no, despite all of the pain, they can hold out indefinitely. There are others who are saying, however, that one of the issues for the Iranians has to do with their oil production facilities. Now, they are not able to export oil. They have limited storage capacity. And probably about 2 weeks or so from now, they will have to make a hard decision as to whether they begin to shut in their wells. And if and when they do that, that makes it much more difficult for those wells to be turned back on. So the Americans right now, there are some who are speaking to the president who think that this is a real point of leverage with the Iranians. There are others who are not nearly so sure.